of different music. We have all the shit that you're doing. We already have it. Lil Uzi Vert is already doing it. Lil Baby is already doing it. Dub Baby is already doing it. It's literally two dudes with baby in their names that's already doing all the music you want. Do something else!
Way back when, in 1991, LL Cool J opened his hit single Mama Said Knock You Out with the now infamous line, "Don't call it a comeback, I've been here for years." And in our newest video series, we're gonna take that sentiment to a whole new level as we study the rise, fall, and rise again of some of today's most resilient celebrities in a series we call, what else? The Comeback. Whether it's scandal, burnout, or simply fading away into irrelevancy, the celebrity lifestyle is about as cyclical as they come. What goes up must inevitably come back down, only to occasionally rise up once again. For our inaugural episode, we're shining the spotlight on one of the early 21st century's biggest hip-hop stars, T-Pain.
What makes it do this?
I pretty much think it's my voice.
And so anything you say turns into a song.
Maybe just a little bit.
After being featured in the upcoming Netflix documentary This Is Pop, T-Pain has revealed some candid thoughts on how he found himself ostracized from the music industry for helping turn autotune into a popular hip-hop style, leading to what many believe was an overexposure of the musical tool. But it wasn't the backlash from the fans or the constant slights from other artists that ultimately brought T-Pain to his lowest moment. Instead, it was a few small words from a man T-Pain had considered a friend, Usher, that sent him into a 4-year spiral of depression, doubting his own hard-earned place in the industry. Usher lost some points for me for that one.
I didn't understand. Usher was my friend. He was like, nah, man, you really like up music for real singers. Literally at that point, I couldn't listen. Is he right? Did I up music?
After struggling to find firm footing for a number of years following that experience, T-Pain refuses to concede and push forward with his career, dropping close to a dozen new singles, while also negating all of his doubters by winning one of the world's most popular singing competitions in The Masked Singer. Oh, and he also just so happens to currently be one of Twitch's biggest draws with 500,000 followers. So while T-Pain might have been deep in his feelings a few years ago and struggling to right his ship, today he's one on the comeback trail. Hey, what's poppin', guys? It's your boy Marlon Palmer. Since this is the first episode in this series and the show works off of requests, don't forget to leave us some ideas of who you guys want to see next. Who is your favorite rise, fall, and then rise again star? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys after the intro. From the very beginning of his musical career, T-Pain understood one thing. He wasn't a very good rapper. Don't get me wrong, he tried to be when he was starting out, but by the time he was old enough to get serious about his career, he had decided that if he was ever gonna make it in hip-hop, it would be as a singer and not a rapper. Personally, I'm very happy he chose that decision. After discovering this about himself, T-Pain's career more or less fell into place. His first album, 2005's rapper turned singer, made this then dreadlocked 20-year-old from Tallahassee an instant superstar, thanks to singles like I'm Sprung and I'm in Love with a Stripper. These songs, both of those songs, had my high school life in a chokehold. Before long, he was generating hits not just by himself, but as a featured guest, alongside some big-time acts like R. Kelly, E40, and Kanye West. While most of these songs found an audience thanks to the relatable subject matter of having fun and chasing pretty girls, the other thing that set T-Pain's music apart from everything else was his heavy use of autotune.
Autotune is a pitch correction software that basically, it makes it sound good, but at the same time, I used it incorrectly and turned my voice into an instrument. It turned into something completely different that we can only define as a new era of music.
Traditionally, autotune was seen as nothing more than a pitch-correcting technology that was often used in secret to patch up flawed vocal tracks. But in T-Pain's hand, it became something else, turning his voice into a mesmerizing instrument that could come off as both triumphant or melancholy, depending upon its use. By 2007, T-Pain had created his biggest hit single, Buy You a Drink, which was part of his second album, Epiphany. That album would go certified gold and the single would reach platinum status 4 times. But only 4 years later, his fourth studio album, Revolver, was released to tepid sales and little fanfare. By the 2010s, T-Pain had become something of a novelty act, a dude who rode to fame on the back of a gimmick that many now believe probably concealed his true lack of talent, which couldn't be further from the truth. Like, T-Pain can actually sang. At the time, a whole slew of others were getting in on the fun, and not just social media trolls either. For instance, Jay-Z released a song back in 2009 titled DOA, and no, that doesn't stand for Dead on Arrival. It actually means death of autotune.
When I first heard the song, I didn't even pay attention to him saying that. I didn't even know he said my name in the song. I was just so shocked, like, what the f, man? So, but you know, once I sat down to listen to it, I was like, oh, he's talking about rappers.
At the time, it was Jay's intention to draw a line between real hip-hop rappers and the poppy soft stuff that he seemed to insinuating T-Pain was leading the way on. That same year, Christina Aguilera was seen rocking a t-shirt that read, "Auto-tune is for p***s." Listen, let's be honest here. Jay-Z's also told us to stop wearing jerseys, and he also told us to stop rocking Timbs. And no one listened to him then either. Even T-Pain himself seemed to be somewhat in on the joke when he appeared alongside The Lonely Island on their hit single, "I'm on a Boat," which was more or less a parody of the genre T-Pain helped popularize.
Free boat ride for 3. Now, who should I take? Keeve?
Yes.
And T-Pain.
Cool.
To make matters worse, "I'm on a Boat" got nominated for a Grammy while absolutely none of T-Pain's own original work from that year even so much as sniffed the awards. Which is, hey, we gotta fight somebody. But as difficult as all of this was for T-Pain to deal with, his breaking point came during a casual conversation he had with Usher during a flight to the BET Awards in 2013. T-Pain was sleeping when a flight attendant woke him to let him know that Usher wanted to speak with him. When T-Pain connected with Usher in what I can only assume was first class, what happened next would change his life.
I was like, what's good? I thought he was about to tell me something real. He sounded real concerned. He was like, man, you kinda f***ed up music.
Despite considering Usher his friend, a man he truly respected, Usher decided to be real with T-Pain and let the man know that in his own humble opinion, T-Pain had really messed up the entire music industry by using autotune.
I don't even think I realized this for a long time. That's the very moment that started like a 4-year depression for me.
At first, T-Pain thought his buddy was joking, but he soon realized from the serious look on Usher's face that he was not. This was his confession. I'll never do that again, I'm so sorry. But here's the thing about autotune, and in particular T-Pain's highly publicized use of it. Other artists have been using it all the time. They're just not nearly as honest about it.
A lot of people work really, really hard for their dreams, but it's not meant for everybody.
That's why you use autotune and I don't.
Whether it's J-Lo on the 1999 remix of "If You Had My Love," or even Kanye on his seminal 808s and Heartbreaks, autotune is used by a whole bunch of artists, not just T-Pain. In fact, when Kanye was making 808s, he hired T-Pain as a consultant, but then proceeded to mock the guy by having everyone in the studio join in on a chorus of "T-Pain shit is weak." Wow, I'd like to say that story surprises me, but then again, it's Kanye, so sadly it really doesn't. T-Pain has even told a story about how he once ran into Future's brother at a party and told the guy he'd love to collaborate with Future. You know what that guy said to T-Pain? "My brother would never work with you. You and everything you stand for." I'm pretty sure no would have sufficed, dude. Like, wow. Especially since half of Future's career has been auto-tune infused, which is very weird. That comment just gives you a taste of the extra people were always willing to throw at T-Pain, even after everything he accomplished. Needless to say, all of this negativity and in many cases unnecessary criticism sent T-Pain into a 4-year depression that he's only recently begun to pull himself out of. In 2017, he released his first new album in 6 years titled Oblivion, and he followed that up with One Up in 2019. While neither of these albums saw the type of sales numbers his early work did, that didn't mean people had forgotten about T-Pain, because 2019 was actually a year of reinvention for this once heralded superstar. Not only did he drop his most recent album, the aforementioned One Up, but he also took part in the first season of The Masked Singer, which, in case you can't tell from its name, is a singing competition. That very same skill that so many people spent years mocking him over, and guess what? He won the whole thing.
Some people only thinking that you have the skills to sing through auto-tune. I think you proved the world wrong on this show right here on this stage, that you are an amazing vocalist. It is my honor to present you with the trophy.
That victory was for everyone who ever told T-Pain he couldn't sing. But music isn't all T-Pain does these days. He's also a hugely popular video game streamer over on Twitch. Not only does he have 500,000 followers on that platform, but he's clocked in over 500 hours of content and cemented himself as a true part of gaming culture. He's also launched a new project with folks over at Podcast One for a series he's calling Nappy Boy Radio, which will feature his conversations with friends like Mike Tyson and Lil Jon. I wonder if Usher will ever make an appearance on the show. After all the recent headlines, that sure would make a crazy episode. I think Usher owes T-Pain a much needed apology. Alright guys, I think we'll bring this video to an end here. What did you think of T-Pain's comeback? Will he carry it through all the way? Be sure to let us know in the comments below. Let us know your favorite T-Pain song. Follow us on Instagram @BeforeThey're Famous to vote on what's next, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.